Welcome to In the Know Medical Imaging, where we make medical imaging easy to understand. Have you ever wondered why a CT technologist gets so particular about IV sizes? Why can't we just run a 22-gauge line for a high-speed cardiac CTA, and what actually happens inside a vessel when a contrast power injector fires off at hundreds of PSI? In this video, we are breaking down everything you need to know about IV needle gauges, the physics of fluid flow rate, why specific imaging exams demand specific line sizes, and how contrast injectors manage immense pressure without blowing veins. Let's start with the basics of IV catheter sizing. An 18-gauge green has a large bore, perfect for rapid fluid resuscitation, trauma, and high-speed contrast boluses. A 20-gauge pink is the versatile workhorse of the medical imaging department, ideal for most routine contrast-enhanced CT scans. A 22-gauge blue is commonly used for smaller veins, pediatric patients, or routine slow infusion scans. A 24-gauge yellow is typically reserved for pediatrics or extremely delicate, fragile veins. So why does diameter matter so much to us in radiology? It comes down to fluid dynamics and Poiseuille law. This law tells us that flow rate is directly proportional to the radius of the tubing raised to the fourth power. Because contrast media, especially non-ionic iodinated contrast, is significantly thicker and more viscous than saline, pushing it through a tiny catheter creates massive resistance. Dropping down just one gauge size drastically reduces the maximum flow rate you can safely achieve. Different imaging protocols require completely different contrast injection speeds to capture the exact arterial phase or parenchymal phase of an organ. Studies like a pulmonary embolism protocol, aortic arch CTA, or cardiac CTA require rapid opacification. We inject contrast at high rates, typically 4.0 to 6.0 ml per second. To handle this speed without triggering a high-pressure alarm or causing extravasation, an 18-gauge line or a high-pressure rated 20-gauge is essential. Standard abdominal, pelvic, or chest CTs usually inject contrast between 2.0 and 3.0 ml per second. A standard 20-gauge 4 easily handles these flow rates. Routine brain and neck CTs often utilize a 20-gauge or 22-gauge line, depending on whether we need an arterial peak or standard parenchymal enhancement. For MRI scans, gadolinium-based contrast agents are less viscous than iodinated contrast and injected at lower volumes, often 1.5 to 2.0 ml per second. Consequently, a 22-gauge line is frequently sufficient for standard MRI procedures, though dedicated MRA studies still benefit from a 20-gauge. Now let's talk about power injectors and PSI, or pounds per square inch. Power injectors don't just push fluid. They use motorized pistons capable of generating immense force to overcome the resistance of long tubing, small catheters, and thick contrast media. Most modern CT power injectors have program pressure limits set between 300 to 325 PSI. It's important to understand that this PSI limit is a safety ceiling, not the continuous pressure pushed into the patient's vein. The injector calculates the pressure required to maintain your set flow rate. If the inline resistance exceeds that 300 PSI ceiling, say because a 22-gauge needle is being forced to accept a 5 ml/second flow, the machine shuts down with a high-pressure limit alarm to prevent tubing rupture or vessel blowouts. Extravasation occurs when contrast leaks out of the vessel into surrounding subcutaneous tissue. Because contrast is hyperosmolar and injected under high pressure, extravasation can cause severe tissue compartment syndrome or necrosis. To prevent this, always test line patency with a rapid saline flush, verify blood return, check if the catheter is power injectable, and stay attentive during the initial bolus phase. Understanding the relationship between IV gauge sizes, flow rates, and injector PSI ensures that we get crisp diagnostic images every single time while keeping patient safety at the absolute forefront. Thanks for watching In the Know Medical Imaging. Please comment, like, and subscribe if you learned something new today. And check out our merch store for more cool medical imaging apparel and accessories.